Ladies and gentlemen, one of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that not everyone will respect you. No matter how kind, successful, or well-intentioned you are, there will always be people who disregard your worth. But here's the truth. Respect is not something you demand, it's something you command. And today I want to teach you 10 ways to handle people who don't respect you. One of the most crucial lessons in life is understanding that respect is not something you demand, it's something you command. And commanding respect starts with setting clear boundaries. You see, people will treat you based on what you allow. If you let them talk down to you, if you let them ignore your words, if you let them belittle your presence, they will continue to do so. Respect begins with you. Imagine you own a beautiful house with a well-maintained garden, and someone keeps stepping onto your property, trampling your flowers and leaving their trash behind. If you say nothing, they'll assume it's okay to continue. But the moment you put up a fence and a sign that says private property, you establish a boundary. People now understand that there's a line they cannot cross. The same applies to your personal space, your dignity, and your self-worth. Setting boundaries is not about being rude or aggressive. It's about self-respect. It's about clearly defining what is acceptable and what is not. When someone repeatedly speaks over you, dismisses your ideas, or makes you feel small, you must address it. A simple, firm response like, "I don't appreciate being interrupted. I'd like to finish my point." Or, "I expect to be treated with the same respect I give to you," is often enough to make the other person aware of their behavior. If they continue, you reinforce that boundary by limiting your interaction with them. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear conflict. They worry that standing up for themselves will make others uncomfortable. But let me ask you this. Why should their comfort come at the expense of your dignity? Why should you shrink yourself just to fit into spaces where you're not valued? The reality is, when you establish boundaries, two things will happen. First, people who genuinely respect you will understand and adjust their behavior. They may not have realized they were being disrespectful, and once they see where the line is, they will honor it. Second, those who refuse to respect you will resist. They may push back, accuse you of being difficult, or even try to make you feel guilty. But this resistance is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that they were benefiting from your lack of boundaries. You must be prepared for this reaction. Some people will test you to see if you're serious. They will ignore your words, laugh off your concerns, or accuse you of being too sensitive. This is when you must stand firm. The moment you give in, the moment you allow the disrespect to continue after addressing it, you send a message that your boundaries are not real, and people will only respect boundaries that are consistently enforced. There's another important aspect to setting boundaries: enforcing them without unnecessary explanation. You do not owe people long justifications for why you demand respect. A simple, "I'm not comfortable with that," or "that doesn't work for me," is enough. The moment you start over-explaining, you invite debate. And when people start debating your boundaries, they are really looking for ways to cross them. Think of it this way. When a traffic light turns red, cars stop. The light doesn't explain why. It doesn't blink and say, "I need you to stop now because there's another car coming and it could be dangerous." No. It simply turns red, and drivers know that stopping is non-negotiable. Your boundaries should be just as clear and just as firm. Now, there's a common misconception that setting boundaries will make people dislike you. That's not true. In fact, boundaries often earn you more respect. People respect those who respect themselves. When they see that you carry yourself with confidence, that you don't tolerate disrespect, and that you stand firm in your values, they recognize that you are someone of strength and integrity. And those who do not respect you They were never meant to stay in your life in the first place. Some of you might be thinking, but what if it's my family? What if it's my boss? What if it's someone I can't easily remove from my life? The answer remains the same. Set the boundary. The way you communicate it may differ, but the principle remains. With family, it might sound like, I understand that you see things differently, but I need you to respect my choices. With a boss, it may be a professional but firm, I appreciate feedback, but I expect to be spoken to with professionalism. You are not powerless no matter the situation. There is always a way to assert yourself without disrespecting others. Another key aspect of boundary setting is understanding that it's not just about words. It's about actions. If someone repeatedly ignores your boundaries, you must show them that there are consequences. If a friend constantly disrespects your time, stop making plans with them. If a coworker talks down to you, limit your interactions to only what's necessary. If a relative disregards your feelings, take a step back from the relationship. Actions speak louder than words, and sometimes the best way to teach people how to treat you is by changing how much access they have to you. Let's be clear. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is not cruel. It is necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and constantly tolerating disrespect will drain you mentally, emotionally, and even physically. You deserve relationships that uplift you, not ones that require you to constantly defend your worth. So I urge you, starting today, to stop allowing disrespect to go unchallenged. Make a commitment to yourself that you will no longer tolerate behavior that makes you feel small. Speak up, stand tall, and never apologize for demanding the respect you deserve. Because when you respect yourself first, the world has no choice but to follow. Many people spend their entire lives seeking validation from others, hoping that if they please enough people, they will finally be respected. But the truth is, the more you chase approval, the more you hand over control of your self-worth to those who may never truly value you. Respect does not come from constantly proving yourself to others. It comes from knowing your worth regardless of their opinions. When you seek validation, you give people the power to dictate your happiness. You allow their words, their approval, or their indifference to shape how you see yourself. But here's the reality. You do not need anyone's permission to feel worthy. The moment you stop craving validation, you take back your power. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself, justify your actions, or beg for acceptance. You become free. People often mistake validation for respect, but they are not the same thing. Seeking validation means you are looking for someone to tell you that you are enough, that you are valuable, that you are doing well. But true respect comes from within. It is something you cultivate by standing firm in who you are, even when others don't acknowledge it. You must be willing to walk alone rather than lower yourself just to be accepted by those who do not see your worth. Think about the people in history who have commanded the greatest respect. Leaders, visionaries, and change makers. Did they seek constant approval? No. They stood by their principles, even when others doubted them. They understood that validation is fleeting, but self-respect is permanent. Many times, disrespect affects us so deeply because we attach too much value to the opinions of others. We allow a single negative comment, a moment of dismissal, or an act of indifference to shake our confidence. But why? Why do we let people who don't even know our struggles define our worth? The truth is, no one else lives your life. No one else fights your battles. No one else has walked in your shoes. So why should their opinion have more weight than your own self-belief? If you spend your life waiting for people to affirm you, you will always be at their mercy. You will always be chasing their approval, adjusting yourself to fit their expectations, and losing yourself in the process. The strongest people in the world are those who have learned to validate themselves. They wake up each day knowing they are enough. regardless of what anyone else says. They do not let disrespect shake them because they are rooted in something deeper than external opinions. They understand that people will always have something to say, but at the end of the day, the only voice that truly matters is their own. That kind of confidence is unshakable. It is the confidence that allows you to walk into any room without fear of judgment. It is the confidence that keeps you grounded when others try to belittle you. It is the confidence that makes others respect you, even if they don't like you. When you stop seeking validation, you also stop reacting to every negative comment thrown your way. You begin to understand that disrespect is often a reflection of the other person, not of you. A person who constantly belittles others is often insecure themselves. A person who ignores you may be dealing with their own struggles. A person who disrespects you may not even realize the impact of their actions. But when you are constantly seeking approval, you take every slight personally. You internalize disrespect and let it define you. Instead of recognizing that their words say more about them than they do about you, you begin to question your worth. That is why detaching from the need for validation is so important. It allows you to step back and see things clearly. It allows you to recognize that you are not responsible for how others treat you, but you are responsible for how you let it affect you. There is great power in being indifferent to the opinions of those who do not add value to your life. This does not mean you become arrogant or stop caring about people. It means you learn to separate your self-worth from external approval. It means you listen to feedback without letting it define you. It means you recognize that not everyone will like you, and that's okay. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to be true to yourself. Some of the most respected people in the world have been the most criticized, but they did not let that criticism stop them. They did not shrink themselves to fit into places where they weren't appreciated. Instead, they stood firm, knowing that their worth was not up for debate. When you let go of the need for validation, something incredible happens. You become more confident, more self-assured, and more at peace. You stop over-explaining yourself. You stop overthinking every interaction. You stop worrying about who approves of you and who doesn't. You start living. And that kind of freedom is rare, but it is powerful. It allows you to walk away from toxic people without hesitation. It allows you to focus on your goals without being distracted by negativity. It allows you to live a life where you are in control, not at the mercy of others' opinions. Respect yourself enough to stop chasing validation. Stand tall in who you are. Believe in your own worth. Because when you do, you will find that the right people, the ones who truly matter, will respect you naturally. And those who don't, they will no longer have any power over you. When you allow disrespect to go unchallenged, you send a message to others that it is acceptable to treat you that way. People will only treat you in a way that you permit. If you never set boundaries, they will continue to push you, test you, and disregard you because they know there are no consequences. Respect is not something you ask for, it is something you command by the way you carry yourself, by the way you respond to mistreatment, and by the way you demand to be treated. If you want people to respect you, you must first respect yourself enough to establish firm boundaries and enforce them. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear losing relationships. They worry that if they demand respect, people will walk away or turn against them. But the truth is, the people who truly value you will never leave just because you insist on being treated with dignity. Those who get upset when you set boundaries are often the ones who benefited from your lack of them. They enjoyed the ability to take advantage of your kindness, to dismiss your feelings, and to disregard your worth without any pushback. But when you finally put your foot down, they realize they can no longer control you. Setting boundaries is not about being rude or confrontational. It is about making it clear what you will and will not accept. It means speaking up when someone disrespects you rather than allowing it to slide. It means refusing to engage with people who constantly belittle or undermine you. It means walking away from situations where you are not valued. Boundaries are not just about what you tell others. They are about the actions you take when they cross the line. If you tell someone that you will not tolerate being spoken to in a certain way, but then continue to engage with them when they do it, your words lose their power. People do not respect what you say, they respect what you do. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with enforcing boundaries is that they are afraid of confrontation. They do not want to create conflict or upset others, so they tolerate disrespect in silence. But avoidance does not solve the problem. It only prolongs it. The more you ignore disrespect, the worse it becomes. It starts with small things, a dismissive comment, a joke at your expense, a subtle insult. But when you let it slide, it escalates. Before you know it, you find yourself in a situation where you are constantly being disregarded and you feel powerless to stop it. The only way to break this cycle is to be firm and consistent. When someone disrespects you, address it immediately. Do not wait until it happens multiple times to finally speak up. Do not let it build up inside you until you explode in frustration. Handle it with calm confidence. Let them know in no uncertain terms that their behavior is not acceptable. You do not have to be aggressive or argumentative. Sometimes the most powerful response is a simple, direct statement. I do not appreciate being spoken to that way. If they continue, remove yourself from the situation. If they refuse to change, distance yourself from them. It is also important to remember that not everyone will respect your boundaries immediately. Some people will test you to see if you are serious. They will try to manipulate you, guilt trip you, or make you feel like you are being too harsh. But do not waver. The moment you give in, they will see it as a weakness and continue to disrespect you. You must be unwavering in your standards. If you say you will not tolerate something, follow through. People learn how to treat you based on what you allow. One of the most powerful things about setting boundaries is that it transforms your entire presence. When you stand up for yourself, you develop a quiet confidence that people notice. You become someone who commands respect, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. You carry yourself differently. You no longer shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You no longer stay silent in the face of mistreatment. You walk with certainty, knowing that you will never again tolerate being disrespected. And that confidence changes the way people perceive you. Many people mistakenly believe that earning respect requires being liked by everyone. But respect and likability are not the same thing. You do not need to be agreeable all the time to be respected. In fact, people often respect those who are not afraid to assert themselves, to stand firm on their beliefs, and to walk away from toxic situations. They may not always like you for it, but they will recognize your strength. And at the end of the day, being respected is far more valuable than being liked. If you want to be treated with dignity, you must be willing to let go of relationships that do not serve you. Some people will never respect you, no matter what you do. They may see you as a threat, they may be envious of you, or they may simply be the type of person who thrives on belittling others. You cannot change them, but you can change how you respond to them. Instead of trying to earn their respect, shift your focus to surrounding yourself with people who uplift and value you. The more you enforce your boundaries, the more you will attract people who naturally respect you. And the ones who cannot handle it, let them go. You do not need their approval. You do not need their validation. You do not need to waste your energy trying to prove your worth to those who refuse to see it. The moment you prioritize your self-respect over the need to be accepted by everyone, you free yourself from the burden of chasing validation. People will treat you the way you allow them to. If you let them disregard you, They will. But if you stand firm, if you demand respect through your actions, if you refuse to tolerate anything less, they will have no choice but to treat you with the dignity you deserve. And if they refuse, then they do not deserve a place in your life. Respect is not something that is freely given. It is earned, reinforced, and maintained through the way you carry yourself and the standards you uphold. When people do not respect you, it is often because they do not see consequences for their behavior. They assume you will tolerate it, that you will remain silent, or that you will continue engaging with them despite their mistreatment. But the moment you decide that you will no longer entertain disrespect, everything changes. You set the tone for how people treat you by the way you respond to their actions. If someone dismisses you, speaks down to you, or disregards your feelings, and you continue to engage with them as if nothing happened, you are teaching them that their behavior is acceptable. But when you make it clear through your words and actions that you will not tolerate such treatment, they are forced to adjust how they interact with you. One of the biggest mistakes people make when dealing with disrespect is trying to win over those who do not value them. They seek validation from those who continuously disregard them, hoping that if they are kind enough, patient enough, or understanding enough, the other person will change. But respect is not something you beg for. If someone does not respect you, no amount of kindness will force them to. In fact, the more you chase their approval, the more they will take you for granted. People who do not respect you see your willingness to tolerate their behavior as permission to continue it. The moment you stop engaging, stop explaining yourself, and stop giving them the attention they crave, you take back your power. Silence is one of the most powerful responses to disrespect. Not every act of disrespect requires an argument or confrontation. Sometimes, the best way to show someone they have crossed a line is to withdraw your energy. When you stop reacting to their negativity, stop entertaining their games, and stop allowing them access to you, they realize that their behavior no longer has power over you. This does not mean you should avoid standing up for yourself when necessary, but rather that you should be selective about where you invest your energy. Some people thrive on provoking reactions. They want to see you frustrated, defensive, or upset because it gives them a sense of control. But when you refuse to give them that satisfaction, you strip them of their influence over you. Walking away is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of self-respect. It is an acknowledgement that not every battle is worth fighting, and that your peace is more valuable than proving a point to someone who refuses to see your worth. There will always be people who refuse to respect you, no matter what you do. They may belittle you, dismiss your achievements, or undermine your confidence, not because there is anything wrong with you, but because they are unwilling or incapable of seeing your value. You cannot force someone to respect you, but you can decide whether or not you will continue to give them space in your life. When you walk away from disrespect, you are making a statement. You are saying that you refuse to be in environments where you are not valued. You are prioritizing your well-being over the opinions of those who do not appreciate you. And most importantly, you are reinforcing your own sense of self-worth. Respect starts from within. If you do not respect yourself enough to walk away from toxic situations, how can you expect others to respect you? People take cues from how you treat yourself. If they see you consistently tolerating disrespect, they assume it is acceptable. But when they see you standing firm, refusing to engage with those who belittle you, and walking away from those who do not appreciate you, they recognize that you are not someone who will tolerate mistreatment. Many people hesitate to walk away from disrespect because they fear being alone. They worry that if they remove toxic people from their lives, they will have no one left. But being alone is far better than surrounding yourself with people who do not respect you. When you distance yourself from those who undermine you, you create space for healthier, more meaningful relationships. You open the door for connections with people who value you, support you, and uplift you. But as long as you continue to entertain those who disrespect you, you block yourself from receiving the respect and appreciation you deserve. Respect is a two-way street. If someone does not respect you, there is no obligation for you to continue engaging with them. You do not owe anyone your presence, your energy, or your time if they refuse to treat you with dignity. There is a difference between being patient with people and allowing yourself to be disrespected. Kindness does not mean tolerating mistreatment. Forgiveness does not mean allowing someone to continue disrespecting you. You can wish someone well and still walk away from them. You can be understanding without allowing yourself to be a doormat. Setting standards for how you will be treated is not selfish, it is necessary. It is a reflection of self-love and self-respect. When you refuse to tolerate disrespect, you teach others how to treat you. You create an environment where people understand that if they want to be a part of your life, they must respect you. And those who cannot, they are free to leave. You are not responsible for how others choose to behave, but you are responsible for what you allow. Walking away is not about proving a point to others. It is about proving to yourself that you deserve better. Some people will not respect you simply because they do not respect themselves. They project their own insecurities onto others, seeking to bring them down in order to feel superior. They may mock you, criticize you, or attempt to undermine your confidence, not because you have done anything wrong, but because they are battling their own internal struggle. But you do not have to participate in their dysfunction. You do not have to lower yourself to their level. When you choose to walk away, you are choosing to break the cycle. You are choosing to prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. The more you remove yourself from situations where you are not respected, the more you strengthen your self-worth. The more you stand firm in your boundaries, the more you command respect from those around you. And the more you focus on surrounding yourself with people who genuinely value you, the more fulfilling your relationships become. At the end of the day, respect is not something you demand, it is something you embody. And when you carry yourself with confidence, with self-respect, and with the certainty that you deserve to be treated with dignity, others will have no choice but to follow suit. And those who refuse, let them go. Your energy is too valuable to be wasted on those who do not see your worth. Respect is a fundamental part of every relationship, whether personal or professional. When people do not respect you, it can be frustrating and even hurtful. But instead of reacting emotionally or feeling powerless, the best thing you can do is establish firm boundaries. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about controlling how you allow yourself to be treated. They define what is acceptable and what is not, making it clear where you stand. When someone disrespects you and you have clear boundaries in place, you immediately know how to respond. You do not have to argue, explain, or justify yourself repeatedly. You simply reinforce your boundary and act accordingly. If someone constantly interrupts you, talks over you, or dismisses your opinions, and you continue to tolerate it, you are teaching them that their behavior is acceptable. But the moment you calmly state, "I don't appreciate being interrupted, please let me finish speaking," you are reinforcing a standard. If they continue, you can choose to disengage, redirect the conversation, or remove yourself from the situation entirely. Boundaries require consistency. If you enforce them only sometimes, people will not take them seriously. If you say you do not tolerate being spoken to in a certain way, but allow someone to repeatedly disrespect you without consequences, your words hold no weight. People respect what you consistently enforce. If someone disregards your boundaries once, correct them. If they do it again, remind them. If they continue, distance yourself. Some people will test you to see if you really mean what you say. If you bend your boundaries for them, they will push further. But when you stand firm, they realize that they have no choice but to respect the limits you set. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with boundaries is the fear of losing relationships. They worry that if they assert themselves, others will be upset, offended, or walk away. But the truth is, anyone who leaves because you established a healthy boundary was never truly in your corner to begin with. Genuine relationships thrive on mutual respect. If someone values you, they will respect your limits. If they get angry, defensive, or try to manipulate you into backing down, they are only benefiting from your lack of boundaries. It is better to lose those who refuse to respect you than to keep them in your life at the expense of your self-worth. Boundaries are not just about what you do not allow. They are also about what you expect. When you know your worth, you do not settle for less. If you expect honesty, you do not tolerate deception. If you expect kindness, you do not tolerate rudeness. If you expect respect, you do not tolerate being belittled. You do not have to convince people to treat you well. You do not have to beg for basic respect. The way you allow others to treat you sets the precedent. If you make excuses for bad behavior, if you let things slide, if you stay silent when disrespected, you send the message that it is acceptable. But when you make it clear that mistreatment is not tolerated, people adjust or they leave. Either way, you win. The key to setting boundaries effectively is communication. People cannot read your mind. If someone crosses a line, address it. Say what you mean clearly and directly. You do not have to be aggressive or confrontational, just firm. I don't appreciate being spoken to that way. I need you to respect my time. I will not continue this conversation if you raise your voice at me. These are clear, simple statements that set expectations. Some people will respect your boundaries immediately, while others may resist, especially if they are used to treating you a certain way. But their resistance does not mean you should back down. It means you should stand even firmer. People who do not respect you often rely on your willingness to tolerate their behavior. They push limits because they assume there will be no consequences. But the moment you start enforcing boundaries, they are forced to make a choice. Either adjust how they treat you or lose access to you. The ones who genuinely value you will choose to respect your boundaries. The ones who only sought to control or take advantage of you will fall away. This is a natural and necessary process. Do not fear losing people who refuse to respect you. The right people will never be lost when you choose self-respect. There will always be individuals who feel entitled to your time, energy, or attention, even when they do not treat you well. They may try to guilt trip you, pressure you, or use manipulation to make you feel like setting boundaries is wrong. But remember, you are not responsible for their feelings. You are responsible for protecting your peace. Saying no does not make you mean. Prioritizing your well-being does not make you selfish. Enforcing respect does not make you difficult. It makes you someone who values themselves. One of the most powerful things you can do is detach emotionally from the reactions of others. When you set a boundary, some people will not like it. They may argue, try to make you feel guilty, or even distance themselves. That is their choice. Your job is not to make them comfortable at your own expense. Your job is to uphold the standards that protect your self-respect. Some relationships may change, some may end, but the relationships that remain will be stronger and built on genuine respect. The more you practice enforcing boundaries, the easier it becomes. It is a skill, like any other, that improves with time and experience. You will begin to notice a shift in how people treat you. You will no longer attract those who seek to take advantage of your kindness. You will no longer entertain those who dismiss your worth. You will start to surround yourself with people who respect you not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. Boundaries are the foundation of self-respect. They are a reflection of your values, your priorities, and your sense of worth. If you do not set them, people will assume they can treat you however they please. But when you establish clear, firm boundaries, you take control of how you are treated. You do not have to accept disrespect. You do not have to tolerate mistreatment. You have the right to set limits, to walk away from those who refuse to respect them, and to build a life where you are valued, The more you reinforce your boundaries, the more others will recognize that respect is not optional, it is a requirement. And the more you stand by your own standards, the more you will attract relationships, opportunities, and environments that align with your self-worth. Silence is one of the most powerful responses you can use when dealing with people who do not respect you. Many people believe that reacting immediately, defending themselves, or arguing back is the best way to demand respect. However, in many situations, silence speaks louder than words. When someone disrespects you, they often expect a reaction. They expect you to defend yourself, get emotional, or engage in an argument. By choosing silence, you take away their power. You show them that their words or actions do not have the effect they intended. Instead of fueling their behavior with attention, you starve it. People who lack respect often thrive on control. They want to provoke you into reacting so they can manipulate the situation to their advantage. When you remain silent, you deny them that control. You communicate that their words do not hold weight in your life. This can be incredibly frustrating for someone who seeks to diminish you. They will try harder at first, pushing more buttons, but when they see that you remain unmoved, they will eventually lose interest. Your silence sends a message: I will not engage in disrespect. It is a boundary without the need for explanation. Silence is also a powerful tool in moments when words fail. There are times when disrespect is so blatant and unnecessary that responding would only give it more power. Instead of explaining why someone's behavior is unacceptable, your silence lets them sit with their own actions. Some people rely on your response to justify their behavior. They will twist your words, use your reaction against you, or make it seem like you are the problem. By refusing to engage, you take away their ability to manipulate the situation. You force them to deal with themselves without your energy feeding their negativity. There is strength in restraint. Many people think power is in speaking louder, in proving a point, or in winning an argument. But true power lies in self-restraint. When you choose silence, you are making a conscious decision not to give your energy to someone who does not deserve it. You are showing that you are above their level of disrespect. Instead of lowering yourself to meet their energy, you remain in control of your own. This frustrates those who seek to bring you down because they realize they have no influence over you. Silence can also be a strategic response in professional environments. In the workplace, there are people who will test your patience, undermine your efforts, or try to make you feel small. Responding emotionally in these situations can work against you. Instead, silence followed by decisive action is far more effective. If a colleague constantly interrupts you in meetings, instead of arguing, pause, let the silence sit, and then calmly continue speaking. This forces others to notice the disrespect without you having to call it out. If a superior speaks to you in a condescending tone, responding with measured silence before continuing with professionalism sends a message that their behavior does not shake your confidence. In personal relationships, silence can be a way of reclaiming your dignity. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, arguing with them every time only drains your energy. Instead of trying to make them see your worth, step back. Let them feel the absence of your presence, your words, and your attention. Some people only realize the impact of their actions when they no longer have access to your energy. By withdrawing your response, you shift the dynamic. You make it clear that you will not entertain disrespect. This does not mean you ignore everything or allow people to walk over you. It means you choose your battles wisely and refuse to give your energy to those who do not deserve it. Silence can also be a form of self-respect. When you know your worth, you do not waste time justifying yourself to people who refuse to see it. You do not beg for respect or chase validation from those who are unwilling to give it. You let your actions speak. You show through the way you carry yourself that you are not someone to be treated lightly. The less you respond to negativity, the more you show that you are focused on things that truly matter. People often confuse silence with weakness, but it is the opposite. It takes immense strength to walk away from an argument you know you could win. It takes discipline to not react when someone disrespects you. It takes confidence to let someone reveal their own character while you remain composed. Not everyone deserves your words, Not every situation requires a response. The ability to remain silent when necessary is one of the greatest skills you can develop. One of the most powerful aspects of silence is how it forces others to confront themselves. When you remove yourself from unnecessary battles, people are left with only their own behavior to examine. Those who disrespect you will eventually realize that their words hold no power over you. Some will adjust their behavior when they see that you do not entertain their negativity. Others will drift away when they realize they cannot manipulate you. Either way, you win. Choosing silence does not mean tolerating mistreatment. It means knowing when speaking up is necessary and when silence is the better response. There are moments when you must stand your ground and defend yourself, but there are also moments when saying nothing is the most powerful thing you can do. Disrespectful people seek a reaction. When you refuse to give it to them, you take back your power. You show them that you operate on a higher level, one where respect is a requirement, not an option. At the end of the day, you cannot control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. Not everyone deserves your energy, your words, or your emotions. When someone disrespects you, ask yourself, is this worth my time? Will engaging in this argument change anything, or is my silence the stronger response? More often than not, silence will do the work for you. It will protect your peace, reinforce your self-worth, and make it clear that you are not someone to be disrespected. In a world where people are quick to react, be the one who chooses silence wisely. Let it be your armor, your strength, and your way of showing that you demand respect without ever having to say a word. Self-respect is the foundation of how others treat you. The way you carry yourself, the standards you set, and the boundaries you enforce all determine the level of respect you receive. When you hold yourself in high regard, you automatically command respect from those around you. However, if you tolerate mistreatment, constantly make excuses for others, or allow yourself to be devalued, people will take advantage of that. You set the tone for how others treat you by how you treat yourself. If you do not respect your own time, energy, and worth, others will follow suit. Building self-respect starts with knowing your worth. You must believe that you deserve to be treated with dignity. This belief should not be conditional on how others treat you, but should be rooted in your understanding of your own value. When you carry yourself with confidence and refuse to tolerate disrespect, you make it clear that you are not someone to be taken lightly. People sense this energy. They recognize when someone has strong self-worth and when someone is easily manipulated. Those who respect themselves naturally attract respect from others, while those who doubt their value often find themselves in situations where they are mistreated. One of the key aspects of self-respect is setting boundaries. If someone disrespects you and you let it slide, you send the message that their behavior is acceptable. If you continue to engage with people who treat you poorly, they will assume that you are willing to tolerate their actions. Setting boundaries means being clear about what you will and will not accept. It means walking away from people who refuse to treat you with the respect you deserve. It means standing firm, even when it is uncomfortable. People who do not respect you will test your boundaries, but it is up to you to enforce them. Self-respect also requires you to hold yourself to a high standard. It is not just about expecting respect from others, but also about ensuring that your actions align with your values. If you demand respect but do not respect others, your words mean nothing. If you expect honesty but are dishonest, you undermine your credibility. True self-respect comes from living in alignment with your principles, treating others well, and refusing to engage in behaviors that lower your standards. Respecting yourself also means valuing your time. Time is one of the most precious things you have, and if you give it away to people who do not appreciate it, you are devaluing yourself. If someone repeatedly disrespects you and you continue to give them your attention, you are teaching them that their actions have no consequences. People who respect themselves do not waste their time on those who do not treat them well. They invest their energy in relationships and environments that uplift them rather than diminish them. Another way to build self-respect is by refusing to seek validation from others. Many people compromise their self-worth because they want approval. They tolerate mistreatment because they fear rejection. They lower their standards to fit in. But true self-respect means understanding that your value does not come from external validation. It comes from within. When you respect yourself, you do not need others to confirm your worth. You do not have to beg for respect because you carry yourself in a way that commands it. Self-respect is also reflected in the way you handle conflicts. If someone disrespects you and you react with anger or desperation, you give them power over your emotions. But if you respond with calm confidence, you show that you are in control of yourself. People who respect themselves do not waste energy arguing with those who do not deserve their attention. They address issues when necessary, but they do not get drawn into unnecessary drama. They know when to walk away and when to stand their ground. A strong sense of self-respect also means surrounding yourself with people who uplift you. If you constantly find yourself in situations where you are disrespected, it may be time to reevaluate the people in your life. The company you keep reflects how you see yourself. If you surround yourself with toxic individuals, you will constantly have to fight for respect. But if you choose to be around people who value you, respect becomes a natural part of your relationships. People with self-respect do not tolerate toxic environments, whether it is in friendships, work settings, or family dynamics. They know when to walk away from situations that do not serve them. They do not stay in places where they are not valued. They do not engage with people who drain their energy. They prioritize their mental and emotional well-being over the need to be liked or accepted. One of the most empowering things you can do for yourself is to develop an unshakable sense of self-worth. When you truly respect yourself, you stop explaining yourself to people who refuse to understand you. You stop chasing those who do not appreciate you. You realize that respect is not something you have to fight for. It is something that is naturally given to those who demand it through their actions and presence. It is also important to remember that self-respect is not arrogance. It is not about thinking you are better than others or looking down on people. It is about knowing your worth without having to prove it. It is about carrying yourself with confidence, dignity, and grace. It is about treating others with kindness while also ensuring that you are treated with respect in return. At the end of the day, the way you see yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. If you believe you deserve respect, you will act accordingly, and people will recognize that. If you allow yourself to be mistreated, others will follow suit. The choice is yours. You can either demand respect through your actions, your presence, and your standards, or you can settle for less. The key to being respected by others starts with respecting yourself first. One of the most powerful ways to handle people who do not respect you is by maintaining emotional control. When someone disrespects you, it can trigger feelings of anger, frustration, or even self-doubt. But the moment you let your emotions take over, you give them control over your reaction. People who thrive on disrespect often seek to provoke a reaction to see if they can manipulate your emotions. They want you to respond in a way that validates their power over you. But when you remain calm, composed, and unshaken, you strip them of that power. Emotional control is a sign of strength. It shows that you are not easily rattled by negativity or by the actions of others. When you refuse to react impulsively, you demonstrate confidence and self-respect. People who respect themselves do not allow others to dictate their emotions. They do not let someone else's rudeness affect their inner peace. Instead, they choose their responses carefully, ensuring that they remain in control of themselves. It is important to understand that emotional control does not mean suppressing your feelings. It means channeling them in a way that benefits you rather than harms you. If someone disrespects you, you have the right to feel hurt or frustrated, but instead of reacting out of anger, take a moment to process your emotions. Ask yourself if the situation truly deserves your energy. Some disrespect is best ignored because engaging with it only fuels the person trying to provoke you. There will be times when addressing disrespect is necessary, but even then, emotional control is key. Responding with anger or defensiveness often escalates the situation rather than resolving it. A calm and firm response, however, communicates that you recognize the disrespect, but you are not affected by it. People who master their emotions gain respect because they show maturity, wisdom, and strength. Another important aspect of emotional control is the ability to set boundaries without being reactive. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, it is crucial to establish clear boundaries. Let them know that their behavior is unacceptable, but do so in a composed manner. When you enforce boundaries calmly and consistently, people learn that you are serious about your standards. They realize that they cannot manipulate or provoke you into reacting emotionally. Practicing emotional control also means choosing where to invest your energy. Not every act of disrespect requires a response. Some people thrive on attention, and engaging with them only rewards their behavior. When you learn to walk away from unnecessary conflict, you preserve your peace and maintain your dignity. You show that you are above petty arguments and mind games. One of the biggest mistakes people make when dealing with disrespect is trying to win the argument. But respect is not won through confrontation. It is earned through presence, actions, and consistency. People who maintain emotional control command respect not because they fight for it, but because they exude self-assurance. They know that their value is not determined by someone else's words or actions. Developing emotional control takes practice. It requires self-awareness, patience, and discipline. When faced with disrespect, take a deep breath before responding. Remind yourself that you do not have to prove anything to anyone. The more you practice staying calm in difficult situations, the more natural it becomes. Over time, people will notice that you are not easily provoked, and they will begin to treat you with greater respect. Another benefit of emotional control is that it allows you to make better decisions. When you are reactive, you often say or do things that you later regret. But when you take control of your emotions, you give yourself the space to think before you act. This enables you to respond strategically rather than impulsively. People who think before they speak or act are often seen as wise and respectable. Maintaining emotional control also sets a positive example for others. Whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or social interactions, people admire those who handle themselves with composure. Your ability to stay calm under pressure influences the way others perceive you. It shows that you are not easily swayed by negativity and that you have a strong sense of self. Emotional control is a form of self-respect. It is a declaration that you will not allow others to disrupt your peace or dictate your action. It is a commitment to handling situations with wisdom rather than impulsiveness. When you master this skill, you elevate yourself above the chaos and negativity that disrespectful people try to create. You stand firm in your worth, knowing that true power lies not in reacting, but in remaining in control of yourself. When dealing with people who do not respect you, one of the most effective things you can do is focus on self-improvement. It is easy to get caught up in the negativity of disrespectful individuals, trying to prove yourself to them or seeking validation from those who refuse to see your worth. However, the best response to disrespect is not to argue or demand respect. It is to grow, evolve, and become the best version of yourself. When you focus on your own development, you shift your energy away from negativity and direct it toward building a stronger, more confident self. Self-improvement is a lifelong journey, and it requires intentional effort. It begins with self-awareness, the ability to recognize your strengths and weaknesses without relying on the opinions of others. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you are less likely to be affected by the disrespect of others. Their words or actions do not define you because you are already secure in your identity. This sense of self-awareness allows you to walk with confidence, knowing that your value does not depend on external validation. Personal growth comes from developing skills, expanding your knowledge, and working toward meaningful goals. When you are consistently improving, you naturally command more respect, not by demanding it, but by embodying excellence. People respect those who are disciplined, focused, and committed to growth. They admire individuals who take charge of their lives and strive for greatness, regardless of the negativity around them. The more you improve yourself, the less power disrespectful people have over you. Another key aspect of self-improvement is emotional resilience. The more you work on yourself, the better you become at handling negativity. You learn to see disrespect as a reflection of the other person rather than a reflection of your worth. Instead of reacting emotionally, you begin to observe situations with a level-headed perspective. You recognize that people who lack respect for others often struggle with their own insecurities. When you improve yourself, you no longer feel the need to lower yourself to their level. Instead, you maintain your dignity and focus on things that truly matter. Self-improvement also means setting and achieving goals that bring fulfillment to your life. When you are working towards something meaningful, you become too focused on your own growth to be bothered by those who do not respect you. You understand that their opinions are irrelevant to your progress. This mindset gives you an unshakable sense of purpose, allowing you to rise above negativity and continue moving forward. Physical health is another area of self-improvement that contributes to confidence and self-respect. Taking care of your body through exercise, proper nutrition, and adequate rest not only enhances your physical well-being, but also strengthens your mental resilience. When you feel good physically, you naturally carry yourself with greater confidence. This confidence sends a powerful message to others that you respect yourself, which in turn influences the way they treat you. People are more likely to respect those who carry themselves with strength and self-assurance. Mental and emotional self-improvement are just as important as physical well-being. Developing a strong mindset, practicing gratitude, and engaging in self-reflection help you cultivate inner peace. When your mind is strong, you are less likely to be affected by external negativity. You begin to view challenges, including disrespect, as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles. Every difficult situation becomes a lesson that shapes you into a wiser and more resilient individual. Another important aspect of self-improvement is surrounding yourself with people who uplift and support you. When you invest in positive relationships, you create an environment where respect is mutual and genuine. Disrespectful individuals lose their influence over you because you have built a strong network of people who appreciate and encourage your growth. The company you keep plays a significant role in your self-improvement journey, as it either pushes you forward or holds you back. Reading, learning, and acquiring new skills also contribute to self-improvement. When you expand your knowledge, you gain confidence in your abilities. You become a person of value, someone who is constantly growing and evolving. People naturally respect those who are knowledgeable and competent. The more you invest in your education and skills, the less the opinions of disrespectful individuals matter to you. Practicing self-discipline is another crucial part of self-improvement. Discipline allows you to stay focused on your goals despite distractions or negativity. When you have the ability to control your actions and make decisions that align with your long-term success, you build self-respect. And when you respect yourself, you set a standard for how others should treat you. Those who do not respect you will eventually realize that their negativity has no effect on you because you are too committed to your growth to be influenced by their opinions. The more you work on yourself, the more you realize that external validation is unnecessary. You no longer feel the need to seek approval from those who refuse to respect you. Instead, you find fulfillment in your own progress and achievements. This self-sufficiency makes you powerful because it frees you from the need for external recognition. You become someone who does not depend on the approval of others to feel worthy. When you make self-improvement a priority, you begin to attract respect naturally. People notice the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, and the way you handle challenges. Your growth becomes undeniable, and even those who once disrespected you start to recognize your strength. But by that point, their respect is no longer your concern because you have already moved beyond needing their validation. You have built a life where your worth is determined by your own standards, not by the opinions of those who never valued you in the first place. The best way to handle people who do not respect you is not to argue, fight, or seek revenge. It is to elevate yourself to a level where their opinions no longer matter. When you focus on self-improvement, you become stronger, wiser, and more confident. You rise above negativity, and in doing so, you create a life that is fulfilling, purposeful, and worthy of respect. One of the most powerful ways to handle people who do not respect you is to develop unshakable confidence. Confidence is not about arrogance or proving yourself to others. It is about knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone diminish it. When you have true confidence, disrespect does not affect you the way it does others. You do not feel the need to react emotionally or seek validation from those who refuse to see your value. Instead, you stand firm in who you are, unaffected by the opinions of those who fail to treat you with the respect you deserve. Confidence begins with self-awareness. When you truly understand yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, and your purpose, you become grounded in your identity. You no longer rely on external approval to feel worthy. You know that your value is not determined by the opinions of others, but by the way you carry yourself and the actions you take in life. People who lack confidence often seek validation from others, and when they encounter disrespect, they take it personally. But when you have a deep sense of self-worth, disrespect rolls off you because you know it does not define you. Building confidence requires developing a strong mindset. It means training yourself to focus on what truly matters rather than getting caught up in negativity. Confident people do not waste their energy on those who try to bring them down. They understand that not everyone will like or respect them, and they are okay with that. Instead of trying to change others' opinions, they focus on their own growth and success. This mental strength allows them to handle disrespect with grace, responding with composure rather than reacting out of frustration. Another key component of confidence is self-discipline. When you have control over your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you do not allow others to dictate how you feel about yourself. Disrespectful people thrive on getting reactions from others. They look for insecurity, hoping to exploit it. But when you have confidence, you do not give them that satisfaction. You remain in control of your emotions, refusing to let their words or actions affect you. This inner strength sends a powerful message that you are not someone who can be easily shaken. Confidence is also built through competence. The more skilled, knowledgeable, and capable you become, the more secure you feel in yourself. People respect those who bring value to the table, and when you focus on improving yourself, you naturally command respect without having to ask for it. Confidence comes from knowing that you are good at what you do, that you have something valuable to offer, and that your worth is not dependent on the approval of others. When you continue to grow and succeed, the opinions of disrespectful individuals become irrelevant. Body language plays a significant role in confidence. The way you carry yourself communicates a message to the world. When you walk with your shoulders back, maintain eye contact, and speak with certainty, you project confidence. People are less likely to disrespect someone who exudes self-assurance. On the other hand, those who appear timid or unsure of themselves often become targets for disrespect. Your posture, tone of voice, and the way you handle conversations all contribute to the level of respect you receive. When you develop a strong presence, you naturally command attention without having to demand it. Another crucial aspect of confidence is setting boundaries. When you respect yourself, you do not tolerate disrespect from others. You make it clear through your actions, words, and demeanor that you will not allow others to treat you poorly. Confident people do not beg for respect, they require it. If someone consistently disrespects them, they remove themselves from that environment rather than trying to change the other person. They understand that their time and energy are too valuable to be wasted on people who do not appreciate them. Confidence also comes from surrounding yourself with the right people. When you associate with individuals who uplift and support you, your confidence grows. You realize that respect is not something you have to fight for. It is something that naturally exists in healthy relationships. The more you surround yourself with positive, respectful people, the less you are affected by those who lack respect. Their negativity no longer has the power to bring you down because you have built a strong foundation of self-worth. Another important element of confidence is resilience. Life will always present challenges and disrespectful people will always exist. But when you have resilience, you do not let these obstacles define you. You learn to take setbacks in stride, using them as opportunities to grow stronger. Instead of dwelling on negativity, you focus on moving forward. Confident people do not let temporary difficulties shake their belief in themselves. They know that challenges are part of the journey and that overcoming them only makes them stronger. Confidence also involves the ability to remain calm in difficult situations. When faced with disrespect, many people react with anger, frustration, or defensiveness. However, true confidence means being able to remain composed even when provoked. It means understanding that your reaction is a reflection of your own self-control, not the other person's behavior. When you refuse to be rattled by disrespect, you demonstrate a level of strength that others cannot ignore. This ability to remain calm under pressure is one of the most powerful aspects of confidence. Developing confidence is a continuous process. It requires daily effort, from practicing self-discipline to reinforcing positive thoughts. It involves stepping outside of your comfort zone, challenging yourself, and embracing opportunities for growth. The more you push yourself to improve, the more confident you become. With each new achievement, your belief in yourself grows stronger, and the less the opinions of disrespectful people matter to you. Ultimately, confidence is about taking ownership of your life. It is about refusing to let others dictate how you feel about yourself. When you develop true confidence, you no longer seek respect. You command it through the way you live. You no longer react to disrespect, you rise above it. And in doing so, you create a life where you are in control, where your worth is undeniable, and where the opinions of those who refuse to respect you become irrelevant.